it, SK.
Why not us, Troy?
Today, live from the Pinecrest Inn, it's the Smylie Show. So long, everybody.
This is the Smylie Show.
Welcome back to another episode of the Smylie Show, where I'm looking at Smylie Kaufman hanging out in the Sawgrass Marriott, fresh off walking alongside the group that ultimately determined the outcome of the 2026 Players Championship. And golly, Smylie, we got so much to unpack from this day. But will you permit me very quickly to just very quickly shout out all the good people at Timuquana, Blanton Tesson.
Thank you, Blanton.
Golly, was that a good day out there. Love getting a little around him when we're on the road, and Timuquana was delightful. So we just have to extend our thanks for brightening up our Players Week.
And the good people of Jacksonville. I love this town. Love this place.
It's a great
TBC
place.
Sawgrass is good. Eat it. Oh, got to give a big shout out to Taco Lou and Big Don. Don always is hooking us up with some good tables, always great service, and just good people over there.
I didn't stick around long enough. I flew out on Thursday night. I missed out on the taco experience. I'm regretting that as you're speaking right now. Next week, I got to do the full week. This event is so cool. The build-out's amazing. First time. I was on the property a few months ago without the build-out and just walked the front nine, but the first time seeing the players in its full form was incredibly cool. The intensity of it.
It's amazing.
And we'll kind of get into to the week itself and just some of the stuff you experienced out in the course today, which was, pure electricity on a Sunday. But again, we like to be dads first on this podcast, and man, Cam's son's running to him during the trophy presentation with his wife and his daughter sitting there watching, and just right in the feels, man. And it was so funny because he's also mentioned that when he won at the Wyndham last year, it was one of only 3 events that his family did not attend. So this is the first time he's had that experience. He does it at the tour's flagship event. Although he also said, I thought this was so funny, that it was a nice reality check of his sons running out there and caring less about him winning than the drone that was flying around.
I know.
I know that game.
They both, were so excited to hug Dad, and then Dan's like, what are they doing? Oh, they're distracted by the drone. And just the least shocking thing ever. Kids, they're like, oh, cool, Dad. He has a cool trophy. Wait, what's that big shiny thing up in the sky?
when I was at the Walker Cup at Cyprus last fall, and they had Same Deal Golf Channel had the drones flying around. That was all Walker, like no interest in the golf, completely locked on where did that drone go. Like, well, I guess it's kids like big shiny flying things. Makes sense. So man, I just, the place I wanted to start to just unpack this entire week is the way we built into this Sunday. And boy, did Sawgrass deliver on this Sunday, because we thought on Thursday and Friday that the conditions were going to deliver maybe a different sort of week. We thought there was going to be a ton of rain on Thursday. Really, the delay was 20 minutes maybe. And then we thought it was going to be a really windy Friday. Turned out to be a perfect day, but we got to Sunday, and if you were watching the broadcast, you were out there and you can tell us. I mean, that wind was humming. 18, that flag was just fluttering like this straight downwind the entire time. So really nervy chip shots in front of those greens. A lot of balls that went over the back of the green. I was watching a little social clip that Gary Williams did for 5 Clubs earlier in the week, and he said that in his mind, 16, 17, and 18 at TPC Sawgrass is the best finish in golf. I'm wondering if you agree with that statement, or if there are any other, maybe 3-hole finishing stretches or just an entire 9 that come to your mind when you're like best finishing stretches in golf, maybe specifically in professional golf.
I think it's got to be the best. TPC Sawgrass is great. I love the Travelers Championship. The finish that they have on that golf course is a whole lot of fun. Sneaking in a drivable par 4 late in the round is a lot of fun. I thought the rotation at the PGA Championship at Southern Hills was really, really cool. 16.
We saw it in that 3-hole playoff, right? That was really cool how that came to life.
But 16 wasn't – I think they played 13, 17, 18.
Because
that par 5 okay.
17 was a drivable par 4, right, where JT had an amazing shot in the
18
playoff.
was a great par 4 that had the Mita Pereira deal. But if 13 was 16 – I think you would have a good case. That's a cool finish, but that's not a PGA Tour event. As far as tour events go, of course, Sawgrass stands alone. It was scintillating finish today. It was exactly what we wanted. For the most part, the wind today like wasn't really that much of a factor. If anything,
really? That's interesting to hear from you. I mean, I felt like there were a lot of shots where guys had to, even like Fitzpatrick on the approach at 16 kind of had to.
It was a club wind.
Yeah, okay.
It was a club wind, it felt like, for most of the day. It never was two clubs. And then the storm started to roll in from afar. That's when that wind started picking up.
Okay.
When Cam and Matt were on 16, and it doubled it. So it went from a 1 club win to a 2.5 club win. It's what it felt like.
Yeah, I mean, I think towards the end of the day, just watching guys try. I mean, 18 was, but 17, same thing, trying to kind of manage the club. But some of those approaches at 16, we saw Cam Young standing over his approach at 16, and really you could kind of feel the indecision. Kiz spoke to this on the broadcast, and he kind of hooks it over into a fried egg lie in the bunker there.
It's a bad break.
Bad break, but I mean, and a great way to kind of get up and down there and make par. You were with that group today, Matt Fitzpatrick and Cam Young. Your second straight week following this week's eventual winner, Cam Young, playing so good right now. I thought it was so cool, just the love he got from the gallery, and it had a little bit of a mini Ryder Cup singles match feel, with the USA chants, with the home crowd really supporting Cam. Before we talk about each of those guys' play, just describe what you felt walking with that group, the atmosphere that you felt out there today at TPC Sawgrass.
Well, Matt talked about at the end of the round today just how him and Cam are good friends, being on the same team, the same TGL team, New York Golf Club, which, by the way, did not make the playoffs. So we really need to investigate what happened there. Do we need to make a managerial change?
Nor did the Bay.
And nor did the Bay.
Tough look for the Bay.
I think you have to start looking at the managers and all this and reassessing heading into the offseason. But these two, I could tell, throughout the day that they were feeding off each other. It was a comfortable pairing. Fitzy looked just right from the get-go, executing at an extremely high level, hit every single shot exactly how he was supposed to outside of a wedge shot on number 7 and holding some putts. And then Cam, it was a lot of the same with Cam. He was missing fairways on par 5s. He was hitting some bad wedge shots. He made a good putt at the first hole, but really just felt like, man, this is going to be the thing again with Cam, is that it was going to be all looks great on paper, but just was a couple good wedge shots or good drives at the right time away from winning a big event. The shot that I felt like kind of turned Cam's day around was the wedge shot he had at the 7th hole. He had 135, I think, and it was a back right pin. And really going back to Bay Hill on Sunday, where he drove it on a string, one of the best driving rounds I've ever witnessed, struggled to get anything inside of 10 feet. Now, the greens are really firm. There was a little bit of wind. It wasn't necessarily easy, but what I noticed with Cam was that it seemed like he always hit the shorter club and hitting it hard. And that works oftentimes if you have front flag sticks, firm greens, downwind. All that's good, but when you start having crosswinds or into the wind, you're better off probably taking more club and taking a little spin off the golf balls. Scotty Scheffler is the best at doing this. So the one time that Cam was in between clubs was on that 7th hole, and finally he took one more club and hit a bit of a 3/4 shot with it. And throughout the day, I started seeing his wedge game evolve a little bit more into that versus the prior. He had a really good wedge shot at the 15th hole. He hit this monster drive down at 345. And then I thought he was going to hit lob wedge, ended up hitting a sand wedge, and started hitting it pin high and controlling his golf ball a little bit better. So that was the one I felt like change that Cam made throughout the round, because he was finding fairways, but just not really making the birdies. And just really impressed with how he was able to kind of manage that adjustment in his game.
I love that you mentioned that in the broadcast, because I think it's both an insight into the development of his game and also a great instructive sort of tool for any amateur watching, where, hey, most of the time, instead of trying to hammer some club that you're going to, hit up in the air, you're going to hit it left or right, taking more club and trying to hit something that's more smooth, more controlled, flat it a little bit better is usually going to be the better option. And we know, okay, Cam Young has bombed it forever since he arrived on tour. We now have the track record now, the putting being a lot better. That was the key to this week. But I'm just curious, putting together all the pieces of his game and how close we are to complete for Cam.
Oh yeah, he's that. He's already got those skills. He's way up in that level to me. He can be as good as he wants to be. I truly believe that. His iron game to me is phenomenal. Just his ability to hit it where he's looking more often than not, hit it in the middle of the face, his divots throughout the entire week. Watch every shot he hit on this weekend, and then also Sunday at Bay Hill. There wasn't a divot that had a bad exit or entry point from the club face into the ground. Every single divot was a perfect dollar bill divot. And I've been chasing that divot for so long. And it was so frustrating. Even on his bad shots, I would go up and look at his divot. And his bad shots still perfect divots. I'm like, this guy can do no wrong. He never has a bad divot. All of them are exactly the way they should look. I think his wedges get a little steep sometimes, a little diggy, but that would be my only complaint. Still a perfect divot. And so,
do you? This is a little bit of a tangent. Do you replace divots for overseeded rye? Like obviously, you don't
always
replace
Bermuda
divots.
Like out at PGA Tour events, anytime you make a divot, you replace it so that the player behind you doesn't have to play in an old divot.
So even if it's Bermuda and you normally put sand on it to regrow, you would still replace it for a playing surface.
The grounds crew comes back, removes those divots, and fills them.
Understood. That makes sense. I was gonna say that'd be really cool. You had like a little belt with all of Cam. You just collected all of Cam Young's divots and made a little.
Man, he was. So I guess he can be as good as he wants to be. I think if he continues on the path with having a little bit more feel inside of 150 yards, just getting so good with his wedges. He's a high spin guy. He talked to us about this on the podcast when he came on. Just getting a golf ball that feels like 130 is 130. I still feel that his wedge game, although he's had good wedge seasons, still needs to continue to develop. But he's not scared to chip it off of the top of your head. His putting is really the routine. I think I want to get into just his putting and what I noticed is that his routine and his caddy, Kyle, are just so much in sync. I never felt like they were out of rhythm because sometimes a player's ready to go and hit a putt and a caddy sometimes is either late in their read or let's say, trying to figure out the last steps of the reading process. Kyle was always in the exact same spot every single time. And it was almost watching an orchestra, these two. They were so dialed in with one another on the greens, and you could look at the stats of how good he was on the greens this week. There's one particular stat that I want to double check, but I'm pretty certain that he only missed one putt inside of 10 feet this week, which with wind, fast greens, the crustiness that they were dealing with. I mean, that is just really, really impressive. And I think his caddy, Kyle, who was a roommate of his at Wake Forest, great connection, those two, deserves a lot of credit because on the week, let's see, he was 64 of 66 inside of 10 feet this week. Just really, really impressive. Perfect inside of 7.
We talked about it when we had him on the show, and I'm just curious from your observation of kind of having been out there broadcasting when he's going through that period of struggle putting, and then if you bottle that up and put that in a time capsule, and then you fast forward to kind of these last few months, maybe dating back to the Wyndham win, how different it looks and feels. Maybe from the mechanical standpoint, the setup, all the things he talked about, mechanically, and not tinkering with putters, not tinkering with the grips, but just the physical demeanor, right? And like the lack of stress. Like where are you observing the biggest amounts of change and freedom in his putting that you didn't see before when he was really going through it?
Nothing. There's nothing. He's not messing with the stroke. He's just really confident and comfortable with his reads, and he just has great touch and good feel. There's nothing that looks unorthodox to me. The putting stroke, the technique, all looks really good. There's nothing that I've noticed that looks different than how he putted in the season in which he had all those runner-ups in major championships and PGA Tour events. It looks the same to me. I think that he just tried different things over the 2-year period in which he was getting back to being a decent putter. He had pop weeks in 2021 that season that was so good, but the 2 years following that, he struggled, and that was the thing that kind of held him back. But I think when you look at Cam and how we've seen him progress, I think he's a very intense individual, very smart. I think that for a long time, he was too hard on himself. I think we talked about that at times, that he got in his own way a little bit, frustrated with himself. He expects so much, but I think one of the keys mentally that I think Cam has been able to figure out through the help of his sports psychologist, Brett McCabe, who's come on the podcast. Also shout out being a Shoal Creek member here in Birmingham and LSU Tiger.
There you go.
You know, Brett had said that just he has so much belief in himself. And I think the thing that Cam had to realize is that he can go and play well when he doesn't have it. And I think that's something that a lot of players take some time and some maturation to understand that. And I think Cam has gotten to that point now. It's that if I just show up with a good attitude and be ready to battle every single day, then I'm going to have a chance to win because my stuff is good enough throughout the board. And when we look back at yesterday's round, there wasn't anything that Cam did that was great. But what did he do? He hung in there. He battled. He made the putt at 18 for double from 8 feet. He hung in there on the front nine when he really just couldn't get anything going. But somehow he shows up to the 17th tee, 2 under. And when I talk about players who take it to that next level, it's shooting 2 under on your bad days. And now Cam hit his drive in the water at 18, but he's even said that I actually hit a good drive. Wind just pushed it more than I thought. Flies a foot into the water, makes a sloppy double. And that 18th hole was just hard this week, and it was just unfortunate. And he's lucky it didn't cost him in the end.
I just think it's just so interesting. I mean, this is any sort of media narrative, but just where we've gone with Cam from the best player who hasn't won yet and doesn't have the ability to close to the win at Wyndham, the performance at Bethpage for the Ryder Cup, winning the Tour's flagship event this week, and how quickly something that feels like this is this player's story can change, and just coming down the stretch today of just where he hits that tee shot on 17, he gets the slope perfectly, runs it down to 10 feet. Slow pimp steps in a birdie putt. He's got the USA chance going and then steps up on that tee at 18 and hits a drive that was the longest of the day by 20 yards.
was incredible.
Yeah, like a real match play scenario, right? And for a guy that, what an interesting narrative flip for him, for a guy that was, his driving accuracy was incredible, all week long, especially today, to miss that one fairway on 18 and that be where the entire tournament pivots. It was highly entertaining. I do think for Fitzpatrick, even though that tee shot aside, like, he did not lose this tournament, right? What we saw was an amazing battle between two players that gave us all the excitement we expect out of a tournament like this. And for him as well, I think it's interesting how some parts of his narrative mirror Cam Young's. Like, going back to like May 2025 on, he's really found his form again. The form we saw when he won that U.S. Open several years ago. We had Mark Blackburn on the show recently to talk about the work they've done, the things the changes they've made. And if you've not seen that, like, definitely worth revisiting that conversation, because it sets the table for a lot of what we saw today at the Players. But a similar question I have for you than the one I asked you about Cam is, like, if you're going back to 2024 or early 2025 and you're looking at the things that Matt Fitzpatrick's doing that have him not playing his best version of his golf, and then you witnessed what you did today at TPC Sawgrass, like, where are the key differences that you're seeing?
Well, with Fitzy, I think the big difference and changes that Mark Blackburn has helped make in his game is that he had gained all this speed and he was chasing speed so much, and that when he had showed up to Mark, he was looking for more precision in his short iron play. And you really started to see that throughout all last year. He started driving it a little bit better, worked on technique stuff in his golf swing. It's pretty high level stuff when you go listen to that conversation with Mark and Fitzy, that honestly, I think somebody like Fitzy would be able to comprehend this type of high level information. When Mark was talking about all the things that they were working on, even for myself, I was like, whoa, that's a lot. It's how he pushes into the ground with the left foot. It's how his hands move through the shot. And Fitzy's a very, very intelligent individual, and somebody that I think can handle that, right? And I think he wants to improve as much as he possibly can. And the shots that he can hit off the tee, this bullet driver that he hits, is just lethal, man. I guess he only probably missed 10 fairways or 11 fairways on the week. He was the best off the tee accuracy. He's always been a really great putter. That's something that has always stuck out to me. And to the poise is the last thing I'll mention, is that Fitzy never looks like he's out of control. He always seems that he can control the moment, and it won't be too big for him. And like you said, he didn't lose his tournament today, but I think he'll look back on three key moments. I think he'll look back on the chip shot at 9 and not getting up and down at the par 5 from over the green. I think he'll think about the 3-putt that he had at the 11th hole from the front of the green. And then I think he'll think about that tee shot that he had at the 18th, about, did I hit the right club?
Yeah, I think it certainly was. Yeah, I'm looking. He's speaking right now to the media and just looking at that scorecard, and and the bogey at 14, which was a really tough, a tough 2-putt from where he was at. That
one wasn't the one that cost him. Yeah. Sure, you'd love to have 2-putted there, but 14 is that back left pin. It's so difficult to 2-putt. He got it a little bit in between clubs, between a 6 and a 7 iron at 14. I thought the 6 iron was the play in which he couldn't be aggressive, but at least he got him on the green. That was never a birdie hole, and just unfortunate for him, he just got the speed a little wrong on that first one.
And then, of course, they're showing the video of him going over to Cam Young's family to kind of give them hugs and congratulate them. Just a class move from him. Two guys that are close friends. So.
I talked to him after the round, interviewing him a couple questions. But before that, his spirits were pretty high. And the first thing that he said to me, he looked down at his fake watch. He pointed down. He said, Valspar starts on Thursday. And I was like, yep, the circus just keeps going on, doesn't it, buddy? And he just started laughing.
Is he playing Valspar? Will you be in the field there?
I assume so, based off of that comment. We wouldn't have said that, but it's funny. We were about to come down to our interview, and I'm waiting for Cara to send it over to us, and I look over at Fitz. He's on his phone. Figured he was texting, but he was doing exactly what any golf geek would do. And I'm not calling Fitzy a golf geek, but I am in this sense that he had Data Golf pulled up and looking at his stats. And I was like, this is great, man.
Love that.
He's like, I want to know how many strokes gained off the tee I had this week, because I striped it.
When it speaks to, all the points you're making about his work with Mark Blackburn. I mean, this is a guy that's charted every shot of his, the large portion of his life in a little notebook so he can extract that data and learn from it and improve his game. And then, all the density of the things he's working on with Mark that, many of us have trouble fully grasping. He gets that and can make those changes and improve to where we're seeing him now, even after that dip in form. So it feels like those two, I mean, Cam's really kind of taken to another level, but I expect to see Fitzy continuing to contend at all the majors the rest of the year, continue to sort of level of play.
Fitzpatrick just coming off a birdie and then hits it to 3 feet. Cam Young right on top of him to 3 feet. Those two back-to-back shots with that whole location, that wind direction courting in off the left were phenomenal. Just right here. Just no notes. No notes. But I also think that if you listen to the press conference after, a lot of people were asking Fitzpatrick about just the
crowd,
the crowd
definitely root for Cam.
They're root for Cam, and I the first time I noticed it was on 14. Fitzy missed that 3-putt or the 2-putt, and then I heard like round of applause after, like people were clapping.
Yeah,
and I was quick to note that it didn't feel like they were, cheering against Fitzy, more so that they were cheering for the opportunity to bring Cam home. And hey, that's part of it, I guess, for a young American who's got a chance to win his first really big event.
Yeah, there were a number of tees where I felt like he almost had to quiet down the crowd. Like, hey, I've hit my shot
18
now, guys.
was insane, dude. Like,
so good.
People were going nuts, walking and yelling, running to that tee. I mean, they would have carried this man like he was flying in like a bald eagle. It was incredible. It was Mr. USA. And then when he hit that driver,
that's like
pandemonium on that 18th tee.
How much sicker does it get in golf than taking the line he does on the iconic island green at Sawgrass, making the birdie, everyone hyping you up as you're walking to the 18th tee, and just pumping one out there with the driver on a tiny little line. I mean, it's such a good way to finish.
It's how anyone would feel hitting. He didn't even need a breakfast ball like myself.
Oh, we are going to get into that. We are definitely going to get into that. But actually, Smylie, I've got a new game for us to play on the show. New segment. We're coming to brand new segments every week around here. All right, really kind of getting in our creative bag, so to speak. The name of this game is called Major or Not Major, which I've named. There's no particular reason why I've named that game that
right.
name, but that's the game. So basically, here's how it's going to work. All right, I'm going to give you a storyline, and I want you to tell me if it's a major storyline or it's not a major storyline. All right.
Okay.
And then tell me why. So the first one is, I want you to tell me Cam Young's chances to win at Augusta, major or not major? And he's played there 4 times, 2 top 10s, 2 missed cuts.
I kind of just want to buck the trend and just say like not major, just to play contrarian here and not prisoner of the moment. But no, it's major, right? He's doing everything you have to do. He's driving it ridiculously well. He's iron game's good, wedge game at times, putting it really well, and I think the most important part is that he just keeps getting himself into contention, showing up at a major championship with feeling like, the back nine of a Sunday is just another day and something that he's already experienced. I think he's poised to have quite the run coming up.
And I always get this mixed up in my head. I should just think about this, but it is correct because I always think of Phil Mickelson there. It is correct that drawers of the golf ball, right? We like Augusta National for drawers of the golf ball. So yes, that's a shot shape that Cam Young hits off the tee. Okay, so major there. Now, just going to run that same type of question back, but coming off what he just came off of, Ludwig Oberg, his chances to win the Masters. Like, what does he learn from this week? And do you think this kind of reduces his chances to win the Masters, making it not major, or do you think he really learned something from this week? And if you liked him before at the Masters, you like him even more now because he's going to take something and apply it when he shows up there.
I like his chances to contend and win there. I really do. He does everything so well. He drives it so far and so straight, irons to the moon, chips and putts it well. And I think today was a really unfortunate day for him. I know it's one that he's going to think about quite some time, but I think Sawgrass is tough, man. It really is so challenging. It makes you feel so uncomfortable shot after shot after shot. And I think we'll learn a lot from today. And you're going to have to hit, shots that have the same type of, pucker value, if you will. Anything that would pucker will pucker at Augusta coming down the stretch. And I think he has all the shots capable to win this year. And I texted you guys that on Saturday at Bay Hill. I was like, Ludwig, I like his chances to win Augusta. And I'm not backing off of that.
Okay, the third one, we heard Rory mention leaving today in his press conference that he doesn't know if we're going to see him again until Augusta, unless he gets kind of bored and decides to enter an event last minute. So major or not major, you're concerned about the state of Rory McIlroy's back?
I'm not concerned about his back. I would be concerned more about his form and enough reps heading into Augusta. If he doesn't play before Augusta, do I think that deters his chances to winning? I think it plays a factor. I think anytime you take 3 weeks off leading into an event, I think, especially when it's not something that has been your typical routine, he's kind of bounced around playing either the week before or 2 weeks before. It seems like to me that Rory would be better suited to tee it up one more time, especially since he played 4 rounds and it didn't seem like we saw videos of him laboring around. Now, who knows internally how bad it was for him this week, but if he spends 3 weeks at home playing and practicing, I think sometimes when you show up that Thursday round, you find out some things about your game that you didn't really know were going to come out in tournament play. So I think it'd probably be better if he showed up at Houston and played. And obviously I would love for him to play Houston or any of those events, but just show up Wednesday night, man. Just go play 4 rounds. Don't spend a whole week there. Just go and, see kind of what it's like under the gun.
And then another kind of double up we're doing here because we saw him on his second hole of the tournament on Thursday, the 11th tee box, taking a sort of a weird abbreviated practice swing and then immediately withdrawing.
Oh, gosh.
Major or not major, you're concerned about Colin Morikawa's back?
That one looked worse, right? I mean, I know
it was a
that
very
one, man.
odd. Like it both did not look like Colin's swing, which also makes me think that there was something that the tweak in the middle of the swing, and that's why you saw that kind of weird herky sort of motion.
Locked up, man. He's probably, who knows how his recovery's going. Don't want to speculate, obviously, on what that injury entails, but really a huge bummer. Another player that was just so like he was in form, man. Like he would have been in contention this week. I feel terrible for him, but hopefully he gets healthy, and would love to see him tee it up one before. But I think with Colin, I would probably say that I would be less worried about him showing up at Augusta as I am. I feel like Rory, to me, just in the way these two injuries have played out, it seems like he's on the other side of this injury where I'm not quite sure on where Colin's injury's at. It feels like to me that one felt like one that could linger a bit.
Yeah. Okay. Now, after a T13 this week at the Players, major or not major, Brooks Koepka's chances to win on the PGA Tour this season?
Yes, I think you will.
Major?
Yes, major.
Major.
I think he wins. I do.
You're not doing a very good job playing the game here. What are you doing?
I need to say no to one of these, but I actually think Brooks is going to win on tour this year, especially the fields that he's currently slated to play in. I love the improvement I'm seeing in his putting. He started working with Mike Kansky, I believe is his last name. I need to double check that is his last name, but he works under the Phil Kenyon tree. He works with the Højgaard brothers with his putting, Robert McIntyre, and I was watching him work with Brooks before the round on Friday, and putting him kind of through all these different drills. And when they finished up, actually, him and I were in the Chipotle line together. That was right next to the clubhouse. He was the one that's like, "Oh yeah, Chipotle right here," and we were kind of just talking a little bit, and it was kind of cool to hear about the progress that Brooks is making. Brooks is really he feels very positive about the things that they're working on from a technical standpoint, and just the confidence he's gaining from the results that he's seeing in practice and then on the golf course. I've been very impressed with his long iron play, his driving at times, his pitching at times. Now I like what I see with his putting.
positive in the direction of where we're used to seeing Scotty, which is 1 and 1 in both those categories, or at least top
He misses
5.
it. He typically misses it left off the tee. I've always said this to you. Like, he never misses it right, and he never hits it spinny right. And you're seeing some just errant tee balls, and it was Thursday was really poor. Like 7 of his missed drives were all to the right.
And you mentioned Brandel's comments on Live From, kind of breaking down his swing, and Luke Cardinine of Golf Digest kind of took that a step further, took some side-by-side pictures that I want to show you here. And Luke's fantastic because I always see him on site falling around taking videos of all these different guys. And he's got this library of videos he can go back to. So he shared a couple images here of that I want to share with you that are of Scotty in 2026 and a couple of 2024 and 2025. So on the left here is at Bay Hill and Riv,
man.
And this is sort of this wrist set, and then you're looking at the 2024 Ryder Cup here on the right and the 2025 US Open. You can just see how it's so dramatically different in terms of wrist set, and maybe you could explain to us at a more higher technical level what that's impacting in the way he's shallow in the club, he's delivering an impact, he's scoring at all those things where we're watching him hit these high spinny right misses this week and wondering who is this Scotty Scheffler and where did you replace the number 1 player in the world?
Oh my goodness, dude. His position at the top is insane. Insane, man. Like the width, like he has hardly 0 arm bend at the top of his golf swing. And the feel that I watched him and Randy working on the range was just trying to feel like it's almost wide. And I'm sitting here looking at, I'm talking wide, it's his right arm being wide. And I'm just looking at his arms right there, man. He's so wide, man. He's got hardly any, his left arm's like bent too at the top, which is even crazier. But reading some of his transcripts this week, he's been pretty open with the media about everything. I don't know how long he's going to stay this way because they continue to ask him the same questions about the driver. He's going to continue to, he might go eventually into the Tiger Woods, idea and all of how to handle the media, just start giving less and less. Scotty actually gives you a lot and he doesn't have to. But he was talking about trying to get a feel of where the club head is, and I think that's so interesting because, the club head to him is the feel. Once he gets a feel of where the club head's at, now all the shots start showing up, all the creativity and the artistry that Scotty Scheffler has. He's able to do all of it. But when he's not able to feel that club head and it starts to feel underneath him and he's got to save it, that's what it looked like to me early in the week, is that he was just late on everything and couldn't save it. All the stuff that he does with his lower body is how he's able to stay on top of the golf ball. And none of that works if everything is, underneath and stuck behind him. And I think that's kind of what was going on. And I think some of it is a little bit a lack of trust in what the equipment was going to give him. He has these left miss with the new driver the prior week. And so he gets out there with the old driver and all of a sudden these things are going right. I think he just was fighting his golf swing a little bit and just not having a sense of where the club head was.
Yeah, very interesting. And one that we'll continue to monitor, of course, as we head to Augusta, because that's a place where he will have very short odds, and it might be it might be wise to play the field. Just
might be getting, I think it's shrinking a little bit. Our guys that are in form, like the Ludwig Obergs and Cam Youngs and all these other players that had really nice seasons to start. I think we'll start compressing that odds boards a little bit at the top.
All right, so here's where we got to go next, Smylie, is you made your official debut on Golf Channel's Live From this week, and it was maybe the best part of every night, where if I was in a bar somewhere in Jacksonville and I became the Leonardo DiCaprio pointing at the TV meme where, oh, Smiley's on, he's hitting a shot, okay? And I want you to, because if I have this correct, I think you hit 9 shots on Live From. All right, and I need you to power rank all 9 shots, because you get 3 approaches on the 4th hole, 3 tee shots on the 17th hole, 1 pitch shot on the left side of the 11th green, and 2 tee shots on the 18th hole. So please start at 9, and I want you to rank or actually start whichever side you want to, but I want you to rank all 9 shots for me that you hit on Live From your first week on the job.
I think the best shot I hit was the second drive I hit on 18.
Pumped.
Can
I just say here that this is sorry to interject, but let me just start here, is that even when you hit the drive in the water on 18, I was like clapping. I was like, this is, since I've known Smylie, the thing where we most fear on the show is the the heel ball right. And we stood up there on live from with the driver, and we did not have any high-ahs. So
No.
I was not upset about the water miss, and the second one was pumped, and we're proud of you, Smylie. We're all proud of you here on the Smylie Show.
You saw me drive it the other day. I'm driving it.
Smoking it.
Really well right now. This golf swing feels very good with the driver. And so I got up there, I felt pretty good about it. In the first swing I made, that's the hardest thing about this job is that you get out there, you get wired up, and then you sit around for 30, 45 minutes, and all you can think about is what could go wrong. You try to believe in yourself. It's like, I can do this. But then over a course of that long, you're just icing yourself for a very long period of time. So I got to give Wags a ton of credit. That job is way more difficult than people realize as far as, just having zero rhythm when you get up there.
It's like waiting on a slow group to the max.
And
like 30
it feels
minutes.
like nothing to gain almost on sometimes. Yeah. But I would have to start there with that drive. The first one I hit was, I'll get to that in a minute. But I would say the second best shot I hit would probably be, I'll probably go with the chip shot.
Chip shot was nasty.
The reason I go the chip shot because it had gotten very dark. And so looking down at the ground, and I think coming out of dormancy time, back home, I've been chipping it fine, nothing great. I just don't have great feel right now. My technique and setups, I've just kind of been fighting it lately. For the most part, I can always figure something out with chipping. But when you're talking about figuring something out when you're chipping on a live national audience, that's a different story. And so when you're kind of thinking about some of the misses that you've had with the pitching, that comes to your brain. So I was very happy and thrilled that I didn't have to hit a second chip, that the first chip was good enough to stand alone. So very happy with that. The next best shot was the shot I hit in the left rough on 4.
So good.
The first day.
The first one or the third one? Oh, yeah, that's right. Because if the first one was from the rough, the second one or the third one was from where Scotty hit his. Okay, so
yes. The first, both would have been good. Boom, boom. Both would have been 3, then 4.
If you could argue UConn's more overseeded than, the idea that UConn was battling for a 1 seed, quite frankly, never made any sense to me when you look at where their metrics were stacked.
UConn will be great as long as they don't play St. John's, apparently, in the tournament. They're good to go there. But you put them at a 5, Kevin. Now here we go again, like last year, Bill Self versus Rick Pitino.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
They're going to want to lean on Kenneth Walker, especially early in the season, because Patrick Mahomes is coming off that torn ACL. Adding a high-end, proven running back next to him just gives him a little bit of time to say, hey, we're going to be run heavy early in the season as Mahomes kind of gets back up to speed, tests out that knee, and feels fully comfortable there. So I think Walker ends up being a big-time fantasy asset.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
This team could be an ATS machine.
Yeah, you know what? I got excited. I usually get excited about the Jets in the offseason and kind of think, they could be sneaky better than people give them credit for. And even this Geno Smith deal, I originally kind of rolled my eyes and thought, what are you guys doing? What are you doing? And then you come to the conclusion and you realize, Kevin, they're paying him $1.3 million a year.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
Everybody has to develop. You know that. Think about Joe Burrow, okay? The beginning of his senior year, he was projected a 6th round draft pick, okay? And that's after playing a year at LSU. So Arch still has some developing to do, but he does have the potential to be a great player.
Outspoken with Dan Cilio, only on SportsGrid.
situation, but I think Friday evening, and I heard this from some ground personnel, that somehow somebody got in their vehicle and got their car to the 17th hole. I don't know how they did it, how it happened, but apparently police like swarmed in on this vehicle that drove from whether it be their parking lot to somehow they got their vehicle at the 17th hole. And I thought that was just thinking about how you could have had that many wrong turns. Yes, like down the car path, somehow getting their vehicle to 17.
And an innocuous mistake just entirely just got rerouted.
I don't want to speculate exactly what happened, but maybe some sawgrass splashes were involved. I think you're going to have to assume that. But if they weren't, just a bizarre set of circumstances thinking about, I wonder, how did I make a wrong turn here? And now all of a sudden I got my car at the 17th hole.
Yeah, that would have, better that night than rolling up in the middle of your tee shots while you're on 17. I mean, that would have been.
Hey, did you have a sawgrass splash this week or no?
I did not have a sawgrass splash. I probably should have. I had a Paloma, but I mean, dude, let's be honest. Nothing was going to top the Frozen Tomahawk.
Shout out again to Tipiquan.
Shout out to Tipiquan again, because I don't think anything will ever top the Frozen Tomahawk. Yes. And that is where I'm done speaking on this show. But Frozen Tomahawk, Tipiquan, you were doing it right. Also, wait, actually, shout out the chicken salad and Wes put us in the right direction. Chicken salad with a little splash of Cholula on it and crushing up those crackers in it.
Yes.
I mean, this is before we'd even hit a shot in the golf course. When I got that first bite of that chicken salad and I washed down with the Frozen Tomahawk, I was like, I'm going home. This is all I need. I would have come just to dine here at the turn window. It's one of the best golf meals I've ever had.
Yeah, after, once those tomahawks and once the chicken salad really settled in, like an hour and a half into your round, you started going, man. Unfortunately, that first hour and a half was tough, but you bounced back big, man.
Listen, I don't quit. I don't want to quit.
You
know what I mean? I was down the dumps, but I was like, we're gonna find something. By the way, that little thing you gave me with here on the driver, that drill, buddy, hitting it good right now.
I didn't like what you were rehearsing. You were just like you were like leading your arms in there, trying to get the club down. I was like, dude, you're not gonna know what that face is doing ever with that feel.
Yeah, well, I didn't, and now it's working. I'm not on like a Matt Fitzpatrick level of comprehension, but I know that it wasn't working before and it's working now, and I'm happy about that. So
yeah, it was a lot of fun. Good week at the Players Championship. So fun to be a part of that action down the stretch, and they got 3 more in a row. Go Valspar, Houston, San Antonio. Next thing you know, we're the Masters.
Can't wait to get to the Masters. We'll have lots of stuff previewing that major in the coming weeks from players we've talked to already. We're just really excited to get a lot of content out around that first major of the year. So that's all I got, Smylie. And I think that's all. I think you gave us your closing thoughts in the form of that story about the car on 17.
Just
and
excited.
You're off to Tampa.
Yeah. If anything, just letting everybody know this week that Jacob Richmond will be at their feeds. So really excited about that interview that we've already.
Such a good interview.
We did that down at the Cognizant. It was fun to sit down with him. Really just fun to just spend that amount of time with a guy who just won their first big event, their first PGA Tour event, for somebody that I think people are still getting to know.
Yeah, it's great to get to know him. And by the way, by virtue of his tie for 5th this week, he retains his top spot in the FedEx Cup points list.
He finished 5th.
Second. Yeah, finished 5th. Great finish for this week,
Jacob,
playing great golf.
He's humming into a Smylie Show interview.
Oh, so good. So yeah, tune into the full thing on our YouTube, or you can of course watch some excerpts of that on the Golf Channel this week. 9 a.m. Eastern is the first premiere, and let me grab the calendar here, because we have 2 re-airs this week, Smylie, and late night ones. We get pictures from the bar. We have a 7 p.m. and a 10 p.m. Eastern re-air on the Golf Channel on Wednesday, March 18th, in addition to the 9 a.m. premiere. So watch all of them, and send us pictures. We'll repost them on social.
Well, it's 8:55 local time
get
here,
you out of here,
and I am so hungry. I have not eaten dinner. We'll see. Gotta pack up.
Yeah.
Fly out to Birmingham. It's storm. I mean, it's been storming this. Like, we are so lucky, by the way.
Are you going to be able to get in?
I'm flying tomorrow morning.
Okay. All right.
I think all the storms are rolling through middle of the night tonight, but we are so fortunate that we didn't get hit by all the things I've been hearing during this whole podcast, man. That storm's been nasty.
We got a little tornado watch rolling through tomorrow, so just need to clear out, and then first tournament of the week at Hope Valley this weekend. It's begun. Golf season's back. Let's go.
Love it.
Thanks so much for watching and listening. We'll talk to you right back here very soon.
Peace.
We'll see you next week on the Golf Channel. This has been The Smylie Show.
You know, I listen to this podcast. It's really cool. And
all of our lovely fans and subscribers, but make sure you like and subscribe.
It's cool to see what you guys are doing. I know golf fans appreciate it, but we do too. So please keep it up.
For all the good people at YouTube, like and subscribe.
You guys have some good takes, so I'm happy to come on and shoot the.
I love these tournaments. I love the Olympics. I love NFL drafts. I love like events. I love like the UFL, arena football.
Yeah.
Dude, the sports books don't have algorithm computers for this, Kevin. They don't freaking know. How the hell is a sports book supposed to set a number for this? They didn't. Yeah. Dude, the FanDuel had USA at -5.5.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
Well, still, even though he gave up that home run, Tom, you know the number's going to be there. If he stays healthy, who's touching that guy?
Well, you mentioned him. The only player I've interest in betting on for the AL Cy Young this year would be Brian Wu. And it's a combination of everything. It's a combination of the odds. It's a combination of his underlying skill set, where I believe he's trending in terms of his career.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
I wait until I get the tournament bracket. Then you'll see me start to talk about who makes a run, who's right to get picked off. You go back to last year, look at St. John's, right? They were on a roll. They got Arkansas, who was a better version of St. John's.
College Basketball Today, only on SportsGrid.
On the Thunder side, while they haven't had their stars totally for the entire regular season, they're still 3-4 games ahead of where the Spurs are, and that says a lot. Without SGA, without J-Dub, who's missed a large chunk of the year, Chet missed some time, for them to be still good enough to keep winning and stacking these wins, it means something, and it's actually building confidence for those others.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.